Here on this rooftop in Nazareth, Mary can slowly feel the intensity of God's glory lifting from her. She takes a deep breath and opens her eyes, still sensing the afterglow of his lingering presence. Like Moses' face shone when he gazed at God's streaming glory, Mary's face beams with heaven's bliss. Thankfulness fills her heart as she thinks of the wonder of what has just taken place. Hours pass and she tries to sleep, but it's impossible. So excited, so thrilled is she with the wonder of God's glory. She simply lies on the rooftop praying until the first gleam of dawn begins to spill across the Galilean slopes. Rising early before anyone else stirs, she washes her face, changes her clothes, and combs her tousled hair. Her mother finds her already preparing the morning meal, her face shining with the glory of God. Hannah breathes to herself, shaking her head and wondering. Throughout the day, Mary holds her thoughts inside, often touching her stomach and smiling. She almost imagines she can feel the spark of life stirring within her. Oh, if only I could see Cousin Elizabeth, she thinks. We could share our miracles together. I don't know if my parents and Joseph will believe me, but I know Elizabeth will understand. Oh, I pray that Joseph understands. Surely he will, because he loves me and he believes in me so much. A few days pass, and Mary feels the life of God stirring all the more within her. Already she feels the tenderness in her breasts and the queasiness in her stomach. Then one day she says with a hint of fear trembling in her voice, "Mama, I want to invite Joseph to dinner tonight. There's something I must tell him and you and Papa." Hannah nods, studying her daughter warily. Something is wrong, dreadfully wrong, she thinks. A mother knows these things. That night, after the children are dismissed and the dishes removed from the table, Mary clears her throat and says shakily, "I have something to tell you." She swallows hard against the emotion filling her. Joseph leans forward, eager to receive whatever news his beloved bears. Mary steals a quick glance at Joseph and tries to steady her nerves. She can hardly breathe past the tightness in her chest as she prepares to break the staggering news to those she loves. Her heart hammers with heavy beats. Her eyes are moist and her face flushed as she says bravely, "I am with child. The Lord has chosen me to carry his son, the Messiah of Israel." Mary's words strike Joseph squarely in the chest, piercing his heart to the core. His face pales, his stomach drops, his hands clench into fists. "No!" cries Hannah, bursting into tears and burying her face in her apron. Her father looks at her incredulously. "Impossible," he groans, shaking his head. "Not my innocent little girl, not Mary." Then his face reddening, he turns to Joseph and snarls, "How could you violate my daughter?" Joseph's eyes narrow coldly. Heat rises in his face. His vision blurs. He barely hears Haley's accusation. Who is the father?" he asks numbly, his voice shaking with wounded love. Mary's eyes fill with tears. She rushes to his side and grabs his hands, tears running unchecked down her cheeks. "Joseph, I would never be unfaithful to you. You are the only man I have ever loved. Please believe me, my darling. This baby is from the Holy Spirit." Joseph jerks loose his hands and turns toward the door. "You expect me to believe that? What kind of fool do you take me for?" Charging out the door, he slams it behind him. He runs out into the night, blinded by tears and rage, stumbling, falling, gasping, and screaming like a madman. Well, I hate to interrupt at this point, but we will bring you more of this divine and beautiful story tomorrow.